Welcome back, chapter 29. I insisted that everybody leave the dirty dishes and kitchen to me. They understood and were out the front door in less than 10 minutes flat. I closed the door, and when I turned around, Jalecia was in the kitchen looking over the mess. Did they eat everything? Jalecia asked, and then laughed. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Then we wrapped our arms around each other as tight as we could. She pressed her forehead against mine and whispered, I'm sorry, Ma. I backed away and looked her in the eyes. You don't have anything to be sorry about, Jalecia. Didn't you learn that in there? Yes. Then why are you apologizing for something that isn't your fault? How do you know that, Ma? Because I read up on mental illness. You did? What did you learn? That sometimes how you feel and how you think make you do things you don't really want to do, and it's not your fault. Were you sitting in on some of my sessions or what? Your Aunt Peggy told me some things about your father and her. Really? She told me that you didn't drink because you like getting drunk. Yes, I did. And she started laughing. What I didn't like was not remembering what I did when I was drunk or being hungover all the time. But the worst was that I was a mean drunk. You more than anybody got the brunt of that anger, Mom. I'm not worrying about that. I know, but you didn't deserve it. You're a good mother, and I feel very lucky you didn't kick me to the curb. I met a lot of people there whose parents won't have anything to do with them. Well, some folks do run out of patience, and I can't lie and say you didn't test me. But I don't know how you give up on your own child. I don't care how old they are. Well, I don't know all about that. I heard some horror stories in there. So, you obviously got a lot out of going through this treatment program then. Yes, I did, Ma. Look at me. And I did. She looked confident, like she had been through something and had come out on the other side. I'm happy to tell you I believe you have your daughter back, and these were probably the most fruitful 56 days of my whole adult life. I backed away and looked into her eyes. She meant what she had just said. There was a light inside them that's been missing for years. I know this might sound corny, Ma, but honestly, for years I felt like I've been lost at sea and I couldn't figure out how to get back to shore. I forgot who I was before this disease, this depression, took over my mind and my heart and started robbing me of my best self. And the only way I knew how to shut it down was with 80 proof. But of course, that didn't work. So, do you feel like you've got it cured now? Depression isn't curable, Ma. But what I learned is that it can be managed. I've been suffering from it for years, but just didn't know it. Now that I do, I know I don't need to be ashamed to say I'm suffering from it. That, in of itself, is a very big deal. I didn't tell you the name of the treatment center because I didn't want you to try to check up on me. But anyway, they have the best psychiatrists and psychologists to assess you and help you understand why you feel the way you do. They give you hope and confidence, something I haven't felt in years. We had these workshops all day that explained so much, and we even had to keep a journal every night and write down our thoughts and feelings. I cried a lot. I even had to interview myself, Ma, and I asked myself some very hard questions that I couldn't answer, but I'm starting to. Like what, if it's not too personal? Like why I was so jealous of my younger brother when he hadn't done anything to me. And what was your answer? I wanted all the attention and I thought he was stealing it. I said that. He did steal some of it, but he was the new kid on the block and he didn't know he was robbing you of anything. I get it now. And one day in the very near future, I want to apologize to him too. Well, I'm going to Tokyo real soon, and if you like to go with me, you can tell him face to face. I wish I could, but I can't. And why not? Because I'm hoping to be able to live in a sort of a safe house where I can still get the kind of support I need and they help you find work or maybe even go back to school. Really? Really? But insurance won't cover all of it. I just gave her a look as if to say, do you really think there's an amount too high to help save your life? Thank you, Ma. So how long would you live there? 3 months is what they recommend, but I can come and go. It's not like being in jail or a hospital. Well, it sounds healthy, so you don't have to explain anything else. But you know what? We can FaceTime Jackson if you're up to it. What time is it over there? I just know it's tomorrow, but let me think. My heart was pounding because I couldn't believe what Jalecia had just said. That she wanted to call her brother was a very good sign. I looked at the spot where I always put my phone, but it wasn't there. What are you looking for, Ma? My cell phone. Did you get my messages telling you I was on my way? No. You know what? I think I left it in the car. I'll go get it. No, I'll go. I watched her walk out the side door. It didn't feel like she was really here, and I was still looking at the door when she came back in, holding my phone in the air and said, "It's dead. So there you go." She handed it to me, and I just set it in my lap. Ma, you know what? You look good. As soon as you opened the door, I could tell you've lost quite a few pounds. What have you been doing? Eating better, exercising, dancing, swimming. I really liked the sound of that after I said it, especially because it was true. I was glad she noticed. Well, we ate good because each house had a chef, and we had to exercise every single day. You lived in a house? She nodded. She was busy scrolling and clicking her cell phone, and I heard her say, "It's 9:40 here, and it's 1:40 tomorrow afternoon there." What kind of house? A big, beautiful house. I had my own room. We had a TV. It wasn't like Jack Nicholson or Nurse Ratched, if that's what you're thinking. That would never have entered my mind until she just said it. Does Jackson have a normal job, or is that a stupid question, Ma? He works for a tech company. Does all of their photography. He's always was creative. So were you, Jalecia. You were pretty good on the piano. So, how old are his twins? They're almost 2.5. They speak Japanese and English. Not well yet, but they can say okay and nana and peekaboo. I'm just waiting for them to get cuter. She started laughing, and so did I. We weren't laughing at the fact that the babies weren't cute, but because we could finally laugh together. What about Aiko? She's a stay-at-home mom. Why do so many women these days want to stay home? I never wanted to do that. But there goes that negativity. Stop. If she wants to stay home with her babies, that's her choice. And speaking of babies, I can't wait to see my grands. They are cuties. I have babysat them from time to time and even been bitten by Handsome. I hope I get to babysit them soon. I'm sure you will. So did anybody read what you wrote in your journal? No, thank God. It was just meant for us to be honest with ourselves. I still like to do it and may do it forever. In fact, I'm going to buy myself a few new journals. Let me. But you don't know what my favorite colors are anymore. Purple, yellow, and emerald green, if I remember correctly. Good memory, Ma. Maybe we can pick them up together, and thank you again. And you're welcome. Did you make any friends while you were there? I wouldn't say I made friends. There were people who were being treated for all kinds of disorders, not just depression, and some of them were staying as long as 6 months. I was screened the first 2 weeks in order for the doctors to figure out if I might be bipolar, but I'm not. I met quite a few folks who were, though. Once I was diagnosed and prescribed the right medication, I started feeling a little better, and then I was feeling a lot better. That was why I wanted to stay for that extra session, because I wanted to make sure the medication would still work. But anyway, I don't think I want to talk about this anymore tonight. I'd like to call my brother, and then could I take a hot shower and lie down? I can't believe I'm really here. I feel so blessed. This was a lot to take in, and I heard myself say, "This is all great to hear, Jalecia, but you know what? Are you hungry?" "Yes, I'm starving." "Then would you rather we call Jackson tomorrow or even the day after that? Give yourself a chance to unwind and eat." "You know, you might be right, Mom. I'm tired. I was nervous about seeing you, and seeing my aunties was a wonderful surprise. I think I would like to be rested and more poised when I talk to my brother. I don't want to freak him out." "I don't think you'll freak him out. Well, maybe a little, but in a good way. I'm feeling a little tired myself, but I'm so happy to see you. I feel like I'm re-meeting the daughter I used to know, and I like her, love her." She hugged me again, and I took out all my hidden dishes from the fridge and made her a plate. She didn't even question what it was, but she did say after she finished it all that this was the kind of healthy meal they ate where she been. "I'll do the dishes," she said. "No, you won't. Would you like some hot tea, or does that make you feel like an old lady?" "I would love some hot tea. It's what I've been drinking every night for 2 months instead of vodka." "And where are your bags?" "Still on the front porch. I only have one. I'm traveling light." As soon as B.B. King and Billie Holiday heard the front door open, they struggled to get up and beeline to it. She brought her black duffel inside and stood there for a minute. "Okay to put it in my old room?" I just gave her a look. She took it in, and when she came out, I set her tea down on the coffee table in front of the couch, and she sat down. I sat in Carl's chair. BB and Billy were back on their beds, head sideways, and his front leg and paw already resting on her, and their eyes were slowly closing. "Ma?" "Yes?" There were people in there with me who had gone as long as 20 years before they were ever diagnosed. You have no idea how good it feels when you find out what's been making you think in ways that you don't want to. I am grateful to you for finding the right doctors for me. And if I hadn't gone to that place by the ocean, I was probably going to die. I knew it, and most of the folks in there with me knew it about themselves too. I took a slow sip of my tea. All of a sudden, BB King started snoring, and Jalecia looked back by the kitchen door. "So who is BB King's little friend?" "That's Billie Holiday." "Of course she is." And then she looked at me. "Can I ask you something, Mom?" "Of course." "Do you still miss Carl?" "Of course I still miss him, but the longing for him is less, probably because I know he's never coming back. You know, I'm going to be 42 this year." "You're telling me like I don't know." She chuckled. "Well, I learned more about myself writing in my journal than I ever realized, and I was just wondering about you, Mom." "What about me?" "I mean, you're 69 years old, and I was just wondering what kinds of things you've come to realize after being alive all these years." "Wow," was all I could say. "Honestly?" "Yeah, honestly." Well, no one has ever asked me anything quite like this before. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just want to know what you've learned, how it feels to be old or older. If you come to any conclusions, are you still hopeful? What do you regret? What is it you want to do with the rest of your life? Would you ever get married again? Simple stuff like that, no pressure. I'm going to get some more tea. Do you want more? I shook my head no. "So, this is what happens when you start to feel clear-headed then, huh?" To be honest, I've always wondered, but I never thought to ask you. And what I did learn was there's never going to be a total clearing. That was a lot of questions, but it's not like I hadn't thought about all of this stuff before. And now my daughter wanted me to tell her what I usually kept to myself. I took a long sip of my tea, pressed the button on the recliner until I was almost looking at the ceiling. I didn't say anything after I heard the microwave beep and Jalecia came back with her steaming hot tea and sat down on the sofa. She just crossed her legs and waited, as if I was about to give her a sneak preview into the future of what she might expect, which was impossible because I could only speak from my experience, not hers. After a few minutes, I wiped the corners of my eyes and took a deep breath. Well, for starters, a lot has happened inside me since I lost Carl. I realized that nothing can ever be the way it was, and why should it? I've made a lot of mistakes, but there's no sense beating myself up about it. I've learned from some of them, but maybe not enough of them, but that's okay. There's also a reason why it's called the past. I have learned that it's not too late to start taking better care of yourself. I am grateful for having you and Jackson and for having good friends. I don't have a lot of regrets because I've done what I wanted to do the way I wanted to do it. So to answer your question, I don't feel old. What I do feel is grateful to be alive and in relatively good health, which is why I'm doing everything I can to slide into home so I leave gold dust behind me. I couldn't believe I just said that, but I did, and I meant it, and I suppose I needed to say it, and I suppose my daughter already knew what I was going to say, but she just wanted to hear me say it. I didn't even notice Jalecia had gotten up from the sofa when she walked over, pulled the lever down on the chair, and then pulled me up to a standing position to give me a hard high five. Then we squeezed each other like mother and daughter. Oh, that's so sweet. In the morning, I woke up in a panic. Even though I was happy to see my daughter and grateful for everything she had said and everything we talked about, my heart was beating so hard I could almost hear it. I lifted the Volt up and slid out of bed in slow motion as I stepped over my slippers, quietly opened my bedroom door, and walked down the hall to her old room. I took a deep breath and slowly opened the door wide enough to see the shape of her feet under the light blue duvet. I was in the pool when I heard a familiar deep voice say, "Ma, what are you doing out there in the pool this early?" Jalecia, who was barefoot and still in her pajamas, had turned my phone to face me, and there was Jackson wrapped in a black kimono. For some reason, he looked Japanese. Although his hair was black and curly, his skin was almond like his daddy's. I stayed in the water to hide my bosoms. "How are you?" I asked, motioning Jalecia for my towel, which she refused to toss. "Who's holding the phone, Ma?" And Jalecia turned it around to face her. "Hi, Jackson. I'm your long-lost sister, Jalecia. Remember me?" "Hello, sister. I've been hoping to find you, but you found me, so now neither of us are lost. You are still beautiful like our mother. How are you?" Jalecia was already crying. "Give her a second, Jackson. Can't wait to see you all in a few weeks." "We'll be waiting for you." "Where's Ayako and the twins?" "Probably sleeping." "I forget it's tomorrow night there," I said. "They're actually in the country with Ayoko's mother, so I have peace and quiet for the next 12 hours. Jalecia, are you still there?" "It's okay, sis, really." Jalecia finished drying her eyes and turned the camera so they could see each other. "Jackson, I just want you to know how sorry I am for how cruel I was to you all those years when we were growing up. Can you forgive me?" "What are you talking about? I don't remember you being mean to me. I just remember you were a brat." "She was a brat," I yelled as I grabbed my towel and slung it over my shoulders because I didn't want my son to see my breasts. "Ma, what are you doing in the pool this early?" "I have to do my laps, and it's how I get my day going." "Good for you." So, tell me how you've been, Jalecia. Can you come with Mom? It would be so nice to see you in person. The twins would love to meet you, and so would Ayoko. We live in a small apartment, but we'll make sure you're comfortable. This way, we can finally have a long overdue family reunion. How's that sound? Oh, my eye itching. Sorry, y'all. Jalecia looked at me, but Jackson couldn't see her face. She was crying again. Hello? Come on. This would be so nice. And my wife and I were thinking of coming over for Thanksgiving since it's not exactly a holiday here. Akina and Akari would love coming to America. Gobble gobble. Say yes, we need this. I need to see you both. I mean, what are you doing that's stopping you from flying a mere 12 hours to see your brother and his family? You know what, bro? I would love to sit next to Mom on that plane, but I have some serious health issues, and I've made a commitment to doing everything I can to stay on track. I'll tell you this much. I'm just so happy to see your handsome face and to know you're doing well. You sound happy and content, and I will look forward to seeing you and your family for Thanksgiving. How's that sound? That sounds like you're doing what's smart. Okay, big sister. It isn't life-threatening, is it? Not as long as I do what I need to do. Okay, I understand. Could you text me your number so I can FaceTime you? I want to meet the twins, and I want you to meet the twins and Ayako. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mom said they are so cute. Yes, they are. Okay. They'll be home from the country in the morning, so I'm going to get a solid night's sleep. But thank you for reaching out. Reaching out, sis. You have made my night. And Ma, do a few laps for me. See you soon. Love you, and hugs to you both. And the screen went blank. Jalecia sat down on the edge of the pool, pulled her pajama bottoms up, and put her feet on the top step. I told you it would be okay, didn't I? She nodded and smiled. It's nice that he doesn't remember the ugly stuff, she said. You remember what hurts, but some of us learn how to forgive, and some stuff is worth forgetting. So why don't you come on and get in? I keep this pool at 80, otherwise I'd never get in here. I can't swim, and I don't have a bathing suit, but I'll just pull my pajama bottoms up a little higher and stand here and watch you. You had swimming lessons when you were a kid, Jalecia, and that's the last time I swam because I didn't like to open my eyes. Would you like to learn how now? Because if you do, I know a really good swim teacher. Maybe, but it's not high priority, Ma. I got out. Ma, well, look at you. So this is what swimming and eating right can do for you. What size are you now? Would you believe a 12? She nodded. Of course, I was just kidding because this swimsuit was a 14. But I still held out my hand and gently pulled my daughter out of the shallow end. And that's the end of chapter 29. Oh, I'm so relieved that they had a conversation, and she is doing better. It seemed like this treatment program taught her a lot of things, and she's still wanting to get help. She don't want to stop, and I think that's a good thing that she's doing, to continue to get the help. And when she's ready and she feel confident that she can tackle life on its own without alcohol or managing depression, then she'll be ready to, get in the world again. So that's good news. I'm glad that her mom and her had a talk. I'm glad her and Jackson had a talk. And I knew it was out of jealousy, but it was also, her jealousy was also part of her condition too. And let's see, anything else? No, that's about it. I'm just really glad that they had the conversation because I was wondering if it was ever going to happen, but it did. And I guess we'll see what happened. We're almost at the end of the book. We have just 3 more chapters left. And what else can I expect to happen? They go to Tokyo. I know she says she's have a grand opening. I think the last thing that I might expect before the book is over is that she meets somebody. Lo, meet somebody. But that's it. I shall see you in the next chapter. Bye bye for now.